Hey everyone, how's it going? In today's video, thought I would just do a little something different. It is a little bit longer, and it's addressing going from what you see right here, thumbnail, right to pencils and then inks. And I should say right now, the inks, they're not total finished inks. There's no shadows. It's just clean lines with some line weight, and you'll see as we get there. Right now I'm using Manga Studio 5. I did purchase EX5, so I should be coming soon. So I can finally get in on the boat on that and hear what, give you guys some feedback, because I hear a lot of people asking questions about it. And the pencil tool is really sweet. I don't think it's much different in EX, but we'll see. So right now, one thing I noticed was the file that I had opened is a file that, at least Manga Studio 4, and I'm assuming 5 does it, whenever you save a file, it'll create an automatic JPEG of that file at that point. And which is really handy. You don't have to, like in Photoshop, you'd have to save each file individually out, which kind of sucks and is kind of a bum out. But I just loaded that right here into Manga Studio 5, and if you look at the top, you can see how big it is. It's a pretty big file, but it's only 72 dpi, and what that's doing is that's actually affecting the quality of my pencil. And I realized that, pretty early, that something was wrong with the pencil stages. Like, it was kind of blurry no matter how small I made the pencil. And then when I'd seen that, and after I hit record, I just didn't feel like going back and starting over. So all this kind of stuff here with the shadows that I'm throwing in with the pencil is supposed to help with inks, but as when we get to the inking part, you'll see it's not really, I don't know, it's just going to take some practice, I think. What I do like about using the pencil though for this kind of stuff, as opposed to just using normal, a pen that I normally would do, and you guys have seen in the previous videos, is that you're able to pet the line. And I know a lot of people talk about you need confidence in your line, don't pet your lines and all that stuff, but when you're looking for shadow placement, or like this, you can see how rough this is and how rough it's looking. For me, it's pretty perfect. It lets you mess around and fiddle around with things, especially with shadows. Lets you build shadows up. And because of that, I don't know, I find it very fortunate. But even in saying all that, you'll see once we get to actually inking it that I don't even really use the shadows. I just end up inking like I normally would, and I think I'm just trying to break a bad habit. Because the whole point of doing the pencils and the shading and stuff, right, is so that you can be faster. So, we'll get there. And here we just got this fat guy kind of laughing in a picture in the background. It's supposed to look like a friendly old fat guy. Right now he doesn't look that old, but once we get the inks going, hopefully he's got some age to him. So what I'm doing here is just basically putting in the detail that I know that I need. Certain elements, like the lady sitting in front here, the guy with the glasses checking on notes and things, Mr. Lewis, and a rough idea of the perspective in the back. So there I had saved it, and right now I'm just importing it into Manga Studio 4. Just because I'm more comfortable with this, with the inking and stuff. I don't have the EX version of 5, so I'm not too familiar. And for the sake of this video, I didn't want to get too nuts with everything. So I believe the first thing I'm doing here is just making sure that the line art can turn blue, which I did. And then I'm going to make a ruler layer, 2-point perspective. And here I've shown you guys a video on this too. I might do an individual video just talking about this, a little updated video on perspective rulers, especially in Manga Studio 5. But I've really gotten into the hang of actually putting in those lines like that. It helps big time. And here I'm just trying to figure out the perspective of the desk. Put a little pattern, like some ribbing and stuff on the side of the desk. Yeah, just cleaning it up. Right here, I mean, you guys have heard me talk about this to death. Other people talked about it, and if you're using Manga Studio, you have to know about this too. Especially Manga Studio 5EX, 5EX and 4EX. I'm not sure. Yeah, I believe that's it, but definitely 4EX. The perspective ruler tool, like you just saw me doing there, like slapping in that. Look how fast that was, as opposed to getting a normal ruler out and things. Indispensable. So as you can see right here, this is what I'm talking about. Like, there's a lot of areas in here where I have shading, like all in there's there's a lot of detail that's missing. But you see right inside his armpit there, it'll be on the left hand side right now, where it's all black. I don't even ink that just yet, and I get to a point where it's I'm just putting in the tight lines, and then I'll worry about the inking later. Again, bad habit, I think. We'll see as we go. And I'm actually going to drastically change up his face here. I made his eyes a little bit big, like he's got the big big lenses, and the chin. I actually started. Look at that. He's got like a little shovel on his chin. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm trying, and he looked like he needed a mustache. So I gave him one of those little like really thin mustaches. But the reason why I give him a face like that is, you know, it wasn't called for in the script or anything, but as an artist, I'm trying to have better animation through my characters and character separation. And one thing that I struggle with, and I know a lot of people struggle with, is, you know, and I don't want to call Jim Lee out on it, but he's an easy example. Not that he's a horrible artist at all, but a lot of his faces and people, they all look the exact same. A lot of comic book artists, the characters, especially if you're drawing like Captain America, and you put Batman next to him, it's the same face except he's got chin scruff on Batman, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out little ways that I can help make it indistinguishable, so that people that are reading the standard, they look at this guy, they probably don't know who he is, they've probably never been introduced to him, which is great. That's exactly what we want. Here, I'm just making a text layer, and then we're going to rasterize it so that we can distort it and just put it into the perspective there. Saves a bunch of time. I think some pencilers, what they'll do is they'll leave that up to the letterer. I've seen people do that. So it just depends on your workflow. There, I wasn't sure if I was going to give him a full-blown goatee or not. And okay, so let me just talk about why I was saying what I'm doing I feel is wrong in the pencil stage, and then going right to inks, at least for right now. Is that in this case, what I'm doing is I'm drawing everything, which is great, but then I'm going to go over and add a contour layer on everything to make it pop. And that's how I'm used to drawing digitally. Not so much with a regular real pencil on paper, because that you can build up as you go, as you get more practice. But I think that, like just saying that, that's what it is. I just need more practice. Because this is a different tool, you know. Here I'm just, you know, you get someone putting like a little bonsai type tree in the back and a little cup of coffee on the paper. Just trying to tell a story with what I can. You know, this is an office, so we get a lot of straight edges and things. So, you know, just trying it out, just to give like this environment a little bit of flavor and some character. Here I'm trying to put some fancy trimming on the photograph, or the painting, whatever the hell it is in the background. The guy in the back, he's like the founder of this institution. So I wanted to, it was actually in the script too, to make him very noticeable in the back. So here you go. This is actually how I would think I would need to start inking, based on the shadow placement. And I wanted to do it on this picture here because it didn't really matter if I screwed it up, because it could be a painting. Paintings do have a little bit of like room to move around like that, but just use it for some practice. And I can tell right away, as I was inking this, it felt more fun, and it felt more creative in a way, that I was way more open to things. But then once I started adding like the heavy blacks in, you know, it starts to get a little busy, a little muddy. Maybe there's too much rendering. But, you know, he's a goofy fat old man laughing. It's really good. And here I'm just adding like another plant in there, having a recurring theme. You know, this guy looks busy and stressed out, but I wanted to give him a little lapel, make it look like he's got some cash, like there's some money in this joint, so that he's not like this crazy. You know, try to tell, like I say, try to tell a story, add things in it that you can. The background does end up looking a little empty, so I end up throwing in some pictures that once I go into ink, I'll just throw some designs in them, or diplomas and things, just to give this guy, like, he's got credibility. You know, again, telling that story. Excuse me. So here I'm just grabbed a fatter, or increased the size of the Maru brush, so I didn't have to like crush the screen when I'm adding pressure to add like a contour line around everything. And for those that aren't familiar, the reason why it's recommended you do put a contour line around things is it helps separate it from other things. So if everything's got the same width, a lot of things start to blend, unless you're throwing color or gray tones over it. But if you put like a little black outline on something, it helps differentiate it from the background or whatever's around it. So here, just putting some frames around, just trying to dress it up. I think we're going to add like some frame panel work right there. Yep. Okay, so let me know in the comments if this is something you guys are interested in, and we'll try to do some more. So keep reading comics, keep making comics, and we'll talk soon.